Hi, this is an intro to my very odd release day vlog. I'm filming this the day after my release because I spent yesterday doing some filming, and then in the evening I decided to do a completely different kind of vlog, which you will see momentarily. But in my complete redoing of the vlog, I didn't tell you anything about the book that is coming out. So yesterday on February 13th, you're going to see this video on February 15th, Stealing His Mate Book 3 and the Wolves of Luven came out. I love this book. It's one of my favorite books that I've written. I think the love story between Sigmund and Melonia is fantastic, if I do say so myself. I have a critique partner who's read everything I've written, and she said this is her favorite. So I feel like that's the best compliment I can give any of my books. Without further ado, let me just cut to clip of me talking last night about what a realistic release day feels like for an indie author. Enjoy. I filmed a release day vlog all day. Not really all day, a couple times in the morning because today was crazy and life is just crazy. I had a lot going on, and I did a couple snippets this morning, and then I decided I kind of want to film a more honest release day vlog. It's 6:30. We finished eating dinner. My younger children are all in their pajamas. They're allowed to play for 30 minutes before I get them ready for bed. And I just thought it might be more interesting if I talked about release day disappointment. So anyone who's watching this who's an indie author, I'd really recommend you read Zoe York's series about writing romance series. And she talks about that it would work for other indie publishing as well, but specifically for people who write series, because I think it is important to look at it this way. I did not make a lot of money today. I did not sell a lot of books. I barely got any Kindle Unlimited page reads, but that doesn't mean I won't get them. It's really a long game. One of my best friends, she asked me for my opinion about, she wanted to indie publish some children's materials on Kindle and was asking for my opinion about whether or not she should do it. And I was like, I think that if you're passionate about it, you should do it, but that this really isn't like a quick money-making scheme. This is a long game. It's a very long game. And I did change pen names, which is not great because the way Zoe York talks about it is, if you want a series to be profitable, you have to have more than 4 books out in the series. If you want to be making money, I think it's that you have to have 9 books out. And if you want to be living off your income as an author, you need to have at least 30 books out under one pen name. And this is my third/fourth book under Colleen Delaney because, oh, I hear a kid crying. Are you okay? Okay. There is some sort of wrestling situation going on downstairs. But there kind of always is some sort of wrestling situation going on downstairs. Where was I? So I think that this is all to say that it's important to temper your expectations, but it's hard to do that still. You always think every time you have a new book coming out that this is the one. And this happened to me with Lucy Hudson. I ended up releasing 7 books under Lucy Hudson, contemporary fiction. I had way more planned. And honestly, if the pandemic had never happened, I would probably have published over 20 books. But as soon as the shutdown happened, and then I had, this happened to all parents and all people in different walks of life. My life completely changed when I was suddenly homeschooling 3 of my kids, helping my 4th with virtual schooling. At the same time, my younger 2 dropped their nap, which I was like, that's like the worst timing possible. We're like all really stressed. There's a global pandemic, and they decided to go from taking a 2.5-hour nap every day to climbing out of their cribs and never napping again. Every time you release a new book, you think that maybe this is the one that'll finally catapult you into like a new era of writing. And it just didn't happen today. And that's okay. I think part of the reason I'm having a harder time coming to terms with that is that I think this is the best book in the series so far. I've written 1 through 4. I've written part of 6. I'm currently writing 5. I'll do a whole vlog about why that happened that way. But I think books 3 and 4 at the moment are the 2 strongest books in the series. So I was really hoping that like the whole world would somehow know this, which wouldn't happen unless they had already read it. So that's part of the reason I think I'm like a little having some disappointment today. And that's okay. It's okay to feel disappointment on release day. I mean, I can't imagine, but like Nora Roberts probably doesn't feel disappointment on release day, or maybe she does. There's a show that you've probably heard of, Girls, that was on HBO, and a lot of people hated it. But I actually really liked a lot of the writing stuff in it because one of the main characters is a writer. But there's a character in it who's played by Jenny Slate, and she has like a breakout hit, and the main character Hannah's very jealous of her. But then they have a conversation in either the second to last or last season where Jenny Slate's character is talking about how it's so hard to continue living after having this breakout hit, and how like she gets obsessed with what people think of her books. And so I feel like no matter what, you're going to feel that way. I feel like I'm sort of starting to ramble, but here's what I'm going to leave you with. Instead of wallowing in the fact that my release did not go as to planned at all, I mean, it went fine, but it didn't go as to planned at all, I'm going to use it to fuel myself to keep going, because this is a 9-book series, which is insane. 3 are out so far. They're all outlined. I know what's happening in all of them. And I do have another series coming out starting in May. That's a 5-book series. And I do have another series already planned out. That's question mark long series, but I have at least 4 books planned out for that series. I'm deciding whether or not I want to make it longer than that. And so I think that the most important thing for me right now is that I have to focus on the future and focus on keep going, because I do want to be a midless author who has like a stable income from writing. And that means I need to have 30 books out under Colleen Delaney, not counting my Lucy Hudson ones. And right now I have 3.5 because I don't really count The Forest Witches out because it's a novelette. Technically it is out though. And so I just need to keep going, and I can keep going. I can do that. I can write and write and write and write and write. So tonight I'm going to do some writing in between refreshing my dashboard, because I wouldn't be a writer if I wasn't absolutely obsessed. I've also been constantly refreshing Amazon to see if like reviews are appearing, which is crazy. Everyone who bought the book got it today. So they're probably not finished with it yet, if they've even started it. So with all that, I'm going to say goodnight, even though I'm going to be up for 4 to 5 more hours. And I'm going to go get my daughters in bed. And then I should fold some laundry. But then I'm going to work on writing book 5. Or maybe I'll have some fun and I'll edit book 4 instead. I don't know. Either way, thanks for listening to this kind of odd video. And I hope if you're a writer, you're not feeling discouraged. And I hope some of the transparency and not the pretending that everything's going fantastic is helpful. It helps when you have multiple writer friends, which I do now because we talk about this stuff a lot. How on social media, you're always very positive about like how amazing your book birthday is and everything. And it might not necessarily feel that way. As always, I hope you're in the middle of a good book, about to start reading a good book, or about to start writing a great book. I'll see you soon.